with your host, Donnie Miller, connecting our community with information about issues and opportunities.
Hey, good Sunday morning and welcome to Bridges. I am, as usual, so glad to have you with us. We're talking about a great topic this morning. We're talking about the importance of foster parenting and what that does for kids and how that helps our community and how that's going to help you. But, you know, before we start that, one of the reasons, and I want to just mention this all to you guys, that I'm so glad we're talking about this, is that we've had such great showing this week of people who have stepped up to help other people. The Charles Ramsey guy who stepped up to help those women who were who'd been held captive for 10 years. I mean, it just took my breath away to have this guy see these people who were obviously in distress. And he said, which I thought was pretty amazing, he said, you know, I'm this black guy and I see this white woman and it could be, and you know what difficulties that presents. And he put all of that aside and did what it is, I think, that we do intuitively when we push all the garbage away. And that is, you know, we step up to help each other. And on the way into the studio this morning, I heard about a group of basketball kids on a basketball team. Did you hear about that? Yeah. Who picked up the car off the little girl. A mom ran over her little girl. And the team went over, picked up the car so they could pull the kid from under the car. I mean, it's just, I think that people are genetically designed to help. And that is why I'm so grateful to have you guys here today, because you're really talking about a topic that is so important if we want this society to be a better place to live for everybody. And I'd like to introduce all of you right now to our audience. We have Stephen Foster, who is the president of the Lucas County Foster Parent Association. Thank you. That's a huge
Glad
job
to be here.
You have.
It's a great job to have.
Yeah, we're going to hear about your dedication to that and why you've decided to do that. Emily, welcome, Emily. Emily's a foster parent. We're happy to have her here. And Donna Seed is the supervisor of the LCCS Treatment Foster Care Program. Welcome, you guys.
Well, thank you for having us.
Welcome. What an amazing task you all have undertaken. Just to be interested in it as part of your work. You certainly could be in a different kind of career to be, you know, involved at the level that you are all involved. Why is this so important?
It's important for children to know that they're cared for. When you're a foster parent, you take on the role of mom and dad, and you're that role model that the kids need in their lives. We need more people that want to take that on, because it's a challenge, but it is also a goal that you have for the kids that you have in your home. And those kids aspire to do great things if you push them to do great things. Yeah. And it's just like any other household. You do what you can, you do what you can in the right way, and you maintain the children in that household.
Isn't it amazing, though, what gets accomplished with just a little love, you know, just a little attention?
Understanding.
Emily, you think so?
Yes.
Absolutely. Just being a part of a home, being part of a family makes all the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important children are raised in family settings because we learn so much from our families. And they give us so many things. We learn our basic behaviors and how we react to others in the world. We learn how to care for one another. We learn to do so many things in a family type setting that children need that they would not get if they were raised in the orphanages of old or in institutional care. So it's so very important they are raised in a family home.
Yeah, this is National Foster Care Month, isn't it?
Yes, it
It
is.
is. I thought that this was National Foster Care Month. Obviously, we need more foster parents in this community. I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen, or Brian is going to do that for us, that tells you what the requirements are for being a foster parent. And there they are right in front of you. Free training, only 36 hours. Your house has to have at least 2 bedrooms. You have to have a sufficient income. We'll talk about that in a second, and a clean record, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. Donna, what is a sufficient income?
Well, you definitely need to show that you have some level of support, that you can take care of yourself. So then you have the capabilities to reach out and take care of others as well. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there is an income guideline that you have to meet.
Right.
just that you are able to care for yourself.
Right. And there's always some discussion about whether there's support, financial support for these kids if you have them in the home. Is that true? Donna?
There is financial support. We actually pay a per diem for level of care for children placed in foster homes. And we also provide other supports as well to families. We assist with clothing, and we do different supports such as send caseworkers into the home. Some of our families receive some respite care as a support. We go in and help with behavioral interventions with the children if necessary, and just overall try to make our families feel as if they're a part of our team and not necessarily standing out and doing it on their own.
On their own, yeah. And a clean record, I assume, just means exactly what it says.
Yes.
Does that allow for misdemeanors?
It does allow for misdemeanors, and there are actually some things that can be on your record that if they're over 10 years old, we can assess as to whether or not you could move forward.
Relevant. Yeah, so that really shouldn't stop people who are interested from applying.
Not at all. There are some things that we do foolishly maybe when we're 18 years old.
Gosh. Isn't that the
Maybe
truth?
we shoplift or something.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. We all have those stories, that's
But
true.
when we're 40, we have a level of maturity that has occurred in our life and maybe caring for our own children and are ready to step up and help others.
Yeah, the reason that I asked about the financial assistance and the other kind of support services is that I think people have this perception that the kids in foster care are really challenged kids and that they will be placed as parents in a situation on their own caring for these kids with no support, and that they in fact will be overwhelmed as well. And that's just not the case, is it?
No, it is not. All the children that are in foster care have qualified parents that have gone through training to take care of these kids and to know what these kids have been through. Some of these kids have been through an awful lot. And you know, if you're a caring, kind person, foster care is the greatest thing to be in the world. Any foster parent can tell you that. Not only me, but just any foster parent can tell you what I'm telling you. These kids someday might be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a draftsman, even a mechanic, a school teacher, and it maybe even president, if you push and drive them enough to want to strive for better. These kids out here right now, a lot of them are in gangs, and there's a reason for that. That's because there's not enough care in the home, and these kids think the people on the outside, these gang members, are like a group of fatherly love.
Family.
And it's not like that. You know, it's not like that. Where they can be in a loving, caring home in the foster care system that would do a lot more for them and benefit them a lot greater. We are there for them, and we do need foster parents.
I think there's a misconception too, because right now the greatest need is not for the grade school children, the teens that are troubled. It's for the little ones. That's what I do. I have always had just children under 2 in my house, and that's our need right now. And the agency is for someone to work with a parent to reunify these babies, to either to go home as they should, or go out, move on to their aunts or their grandparents. But that's our need right now in Lucas County, is to find homes to take care of small ones, the little itty bitties.
You know, Emily, that's such a good point, because I'd always thought that if I did this, I would take care of the little ones, but I'm always afraid that, you know, I'll get attached, and then I'll be like the old woman with the shoe who had all these kids
That's
and
not
she
my
didn't know
house,
what to
no.
do,
Yeah.
and you know, because I wouldn't be able to send them back home.
Yeah, and we're really more of a traditional family. We are a large family. We have 6, but we're traditional. I'm the average person. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and we started fostering about 7 or 8 years ago. And for us, we just saw a family at our church who we saw them Sunday after Sunday coming in with their large family, and we saw their birth children interact with the foster children and their adopted children. It just seemed like such a happy family. My husband has a sister who's adopted from foster care, and I have an aunt who had adopted a couple children from foster care. We always thought we would eventually foster, but like when our kids were like grown and out of the house, and then seeing that this great family at our church it's like, we could do this. So we started just taking the classes, and it's been almost 8 years.
No kidding.
10 children, all
10 children
10
you
children we
had.
fostered. 2 we've added to our family. But it's just been a
I'm sorry, 2 you've added to your family,
2
you
we've
said?
added to our family.
Okay.
But what an experience it is, especially, they're just our kids, and yeah.
Well, and Donnie, if I could speak to that fear that you may have about letting children go after they've been in your home, because that's very real. And it is one of the things that we work on in training to help foster parents understand how to be a part of that team and not to minimize that feeling, because absolutely people experience a sense of loss and grief when children leave their home. But there are supports we do put in place to try to help families through that situation. And a lot of our families also are choosing to work directly with either kinship families or birth families to help really try to make things successful for them.
What's a kinship family?
That would be a relative or someone that's very close to the child that maybe the child has spent a great deal of time in their life with. It might be a godparent, an aunt, an uncle, grandparents. Relatives have been very good about stepping up in our community as well. And you know, it's a very real fear that you speak to, but there are different things that are in place to help families deal with that loss. And I think that many of our families get so involved as a part of that team, they actually are rooting for the birth family and really wanting to make it a successful placement for the child. And then we have a whole other percentage of families who have stayed involved after children have went home.
Right. Are you permitted to stay connected with a child?
Oh, absolutely. Really? Absolutely. I've had a little boy who was with us almost 2 years, and it was a happy sad when he went home. We saw Mom not do so well her first year, and then we saw her just making progress. Her mental health, she did all of her services, and we started by doing like day visits, and then it was overnights. But it was a several month process that when our family got to see him get excited to see Mom. He came to us as a newborn, so really I was Mom.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know, over a process of, it was like the last 9 months he was with us. It sounds like a long time for a placement, but that was a long placement. During the visits, we got to see him excited to see Mom, and when we dropped him off, that was Mom. He made that transition from me being Mom to Mom being Mom, and we got to see him afterwards. It sort of became more of an aunt role. You dropped off Christmas presents. He would come sit on my lap like, I know who you are, but you're yeah. But it's a happy sad when they go home. I have a good girlfriend who's a foster mom, and just this week she had a little baby. He has been with her for 3 or 4 months. And she called, I talked to her on Tuesday. She goes, I just need a day. I know, you know, for the last couple of weeks I've been driving him to Aunt's house, and Aunt is wonderful. He's going to a good home.
Yeah.
But I have to be sad. I have to grieve. And we went a nice walk on Wednesday, and she's like, I feel pretty good.
And you got her through
but,
it.
Yeah. Well, she got herself, she knew that's where you need to go. But you attach to, they become part of your family. And I think
really
they'll always
kinda
be
no
part
way.
of your family.
Yeah, it seems like there would be no way to get around that. And it sounds like a good thing too, but I'm going to ask you to hold that thought while we go away for just a moment, which we have to do, but I promise we will be right back.